Huseyin Alptekin is an international security expert, and he joins me now live from the Turkish capital, Ankara. Professor, great to see you. Great to have you here with us on TRT World. So let me begin by asking you, how critical was the unified front, especially the joint will of the Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and the leader of the MHP, Devlet Bahçeli, in pushing this process forward without compromising national security?
It was very significant. And actually, it was very unexpected because the first call for a resolution, for a peaceful end for this terrorism problem, came from Devlet Bahçeli, the leader of the Nationalist Movement Party. It was very unexpected because usually in such examples in different countries, usually the nationalist, the rightist parties tend to oppose such reconciliation processes. But Devlet Bahçeli, in fact, initiated the process to the surprise of many people in the country. And once he kind of initiated the process, it became harder to go against this initiative because the nationalist tone, they started the process and the government had a free hand because Devlet Bahçeli and his party is not a part of the ruling government. And they are in coalition with the governing party, the Justice and Development Party, but their support is more electoral. So they have good relations, but no responsibility, no authority in the government. And this gave some flexibility to the government, and this gave the opposition very little place to criticize it because this first step was not taken by the government itself, but from a very unexpected address from the Nationalist Movement Party.
Right, Professor, now certainly as we have been hearing that this is the beginning of the end for the PKK terrorist organization. In many ways, what's happening today in Sulaymaniyah is symbolic, but of course this process has to be completed. And as I was discussing with our correspondent Hassan Abdullah out of the Turkish capital where you are, he told me right now there is no definitive timeline. So what I wonder at this point is, what do you think would be the key indicators here which could possibly tell us whether or not this process is moving forward in a positive direction, and what would it take for it to be completed?
So far, it gradually became better and better. The first call came from Devlet Bahçeli, the Nationalist Movement Party's leader, and then the founding leader of the organization, the terror organization PKK, their leader Öcalan. He accepted that call from Bahçeli, and he said that the PKK completed its lifetime and now it's time for a peaceful political process. So that was good, a good reaction. And then after that, Abdullah Öcalan's call, the PKK itself gathered its elite members, and they announced that with a declaration they will follow Abdullah Öcalan's call for disbanding, for dissolving the organization. And today, the first action came forward. Today, a symbolic number of PKK militants, about 30 to 40 militants, they laid down their arms, they burned their arms. It is a very symbolic gesture, but it is important. And the very positive signal for the future of this process is there is no strong public backlash from the Turkish society, from different political actors. The main opposition party in Turkiye, the Republican People's Party, it seems like they're also not having any serious issue with this process. The government is happy with the process. The political wing of the PKK, the DEM party, is full-heartedly supporting the process. Now we see no strong spoilers. And I think we have very many reasons to be optimistic about the future of the process. But that is, I think, a cautious optimism, because this is not the first time when the PKK decided that it's time for them to end their armed struggle, their terror campaign. In previous years, in a few times, most recently in 2013, March, they made a similar declaration. Now what we need to see is, the real action, the concrete, tangible actions to be taken by the organization. Today's events, they are a great ceremonial and symbolic start, but now we know that there are thousands of militants of the PKK and there are thousands of guns, weapons, acquired from a number of countries. So the PKK has a huge arsenal. They have good manpower. So we should see something more than symbolic. And I think we have reasons to be optimistic that such tangible steps will follow up.
Fascinating insights. Professor Huseyin Alptekin, thanks very much for joining me here on TRT World. It was really good to see you. Thank you.